Anger is not the villain they told you it was. It's the heat beneath grief, the voice beneath silence, the heartbeat of something sacred that was once ignored. Most were taught to fear it, to swallow it, to wear a smile instead. But tonight, we do something different. We sit with it. We let it rise, not in fury, but in truth. Because anger, when listened to softly, becomes something else entirely. A compass, a boundary, a fire that warms instead of burns. This is the alchemy no one ever showed you. Let us embark on a journey through the quiet corridors of our emotions, where anger flickers like a timeless flame, elusive and enigmatic. In a world that often whispers the virtues of eternal calm, anger stands as a sentinel of our innermost truths, yearnings fed by buried boundaries and unmet needs. This misunderstood flame begs for acknowledgement, not as a poison lingering in the shadows, but as a sacred signal, a guide shining light upon the uncharted paths of our psyche. In our modern mythologies, often spun by an insistence on relentless positivity, we forget anger's wild beauty. We cast it aside as an unruly spirit, yet its presence is woven into the fabric of our wholeness. Anger is not the villain. It is a harbinger of awareness, illuminating those hidden corners of violated truths and silent tears. To resurrect its rightful place is to dismantle ancient shadows, allowing truths to rise like the sun, warming the soul with newfound understanding. Here, anger transforms from a supposed sin into a signal, vibrating in tones that resonate with our hearts. It whispers of unmet needs, alerting us to the boundaries we have lost amidst life's noise. When perceived free of distortion, anger reveals itself as a silent ally in the journey toward self-awareness. Denying this ally, we banish it to haunt the darker corners of our subconscious, manifesting as passive whispers of aggression and unspoken resentments. As a guardian rising from the ashes of our consciousness, anger defends the sacred contours of our identity. In a realm demanding conformity, where individuality often succumbs to the demands of external forces, anger stands as a clarion call guiding us back to our sacred centers. Boundaries, those tender thresholds where we begin and others end, find their voice in this flame. Anger empowers us to communicate needs with clarity, becoming a beacon of self-respect. Amid the tapestry of our existence, anger emerges as a catalyst, birthing transformation where stagnation reigns. Against the complacency of inaction, it whispers of the changes required, nudging us toward metamorphosis. Anger shakes the ground, urging us to venture beyond the comfort of unfulfilled narratives into new realms of authenticity and growth. It is neither a harbinger of ruin nor a foe. It is a spark igniting truth and bringing dormant dreams into vivid relief. Hidden beneath anger's surface are truths long denied. These are not mere emotions, but messengers from the depths of our being, revealing dreams unfulfilled, paths misaligned, and unhealed echoes of our past. To turn inward and face these truths demands a courageous heart and a willingness to sit with discomfort, akin to the patient alchemist turning lead into gold. Within this journey lies the wisdom to unveil these fragments of ourselves, melding them into a mosaic of understanding and clarity. The needs echoing in the silence of our souls, when left unattended, awaken anger. It manifests as an unspoken presence beneath the surface of our everyday lives, an urgent reminder of the longing within. As we examine these unmet desires, a deeper understanding unfolds. The key to unlocking this lies in meeting these needs with compassion, transforming anger from a tempest into a gentle flow of proactive change. In moments when anger cries out as the herald of change, we are tasked with rewriting the strands of our own stories. Here, destruction paves the way for creation, much like a forest fire clearing the old to nourish the new. Anger insists on breaking down outdated patterns, aligning us with our inner truths, and planting seeds nourished by authenticity. The rubble of the past becomes the foundation of new aspirations as we embrace this cycle of collapse and rebirth. Fire, with its power to burn and illuminate, mirrors anger's transformative nature, inviting us to a dance of presence with emotion. As we engage in this dance, the mysteries of anger unfold, guiding us to uncover veiled depths of understanding and self-awareness. Through this sacred dialogue, anger shines not as a destructive force, but as a guide, a friend leading us through the labyrinthine shadows and into the heart of clarity. In the depth of this journey, where anger stands as both teacher and ally, we witness the healing of our fragmented selves. Anger, when embraced without judgment, becomes a bridge uniting disparate parts, weaving them into a harmonious wholeness. As we integrate anger, we establish boundaries, claiming agency over our lives, and stepping confidently into a space of authenticity and inner peace. As we honor anger's place within our emotional tapestry, we begin to forge a legacy of emotional fluency. Breaking free from patterns of repression, we learn to embrace anger's wisdom and potential. This legacy enriches our understanding, not just personally, but within the communities we nurture. We cultivate a culture that honors all facets of our humanity, paving the way for an emotional intelligence that transcends generations. In this unfolding journey with anger as our guide, we stir the embers of personal evolution. The flame that was once forbidden now burns brightly, illuminating the path toward wholeness. From our earliest moments, society whispers tales that shroud anger in shadow and suspicion. We are taught to view it as a menacing beast rather than an ally, to tuck it quietly behind smiles or suffocate it beneath silence. As children, we carry this narrative like a delicate glass ball, learning quickly that sharp cries and fierce tantrums are best hidden away. Told that anger is something to shun, we begin a subtle dance of repression, learning that perhaps our fiery emotions only deserve to be hidden under layers of pretense. In this tender stage, the seeds of shame are sown deep, creating a fragile mask of placid acceptance that eventually melds into the core of our identity. Yet as we grow, our repressed anger doesn't evaporate. It shifts, morphing into an ominous force beneath our skin, like a dormant volcano waiting silently. Those childhood lessons teach us to stifle not just our voice, but our essence, distilling anger into a narrative of moral defect. Society's unspoken rules close the doors to healthy expression, leaving us wrestling with a beast we dare not name, a silent companion in our journey through life. When not voiced, anger lurks as a clandestine orchestrator, feeding passive aggression, whispering in the corridors of depression, silently wielding its power over our lives. Cultural tales often cast anger as a villain cloaked in dishonor. This collective aversion creates an invisible web where, in some cultures, anger bursts forth in chaotic displays, while in others, it is buried beneath rigid veneers. In the East, collectivism cherishes harmony, smoothing any ripples of rage. In the West, stoicism is revered, with anger often mistaken for a lack of professionalism. These perspectives portray anger as a dark shade in the human spectrum, to be subdued at all costs, erecting structures wherein emotional suppression becomes a badge of control and expressive honesty is diminished. Within homes, workplaces, and public spaces, we learn the art of masking. Anger becomes a spectacle when unleashed, a target of societal judgment. We don facades, skillfully hiding irritation behind calm exteriors. Yet over time, these disguises degrade authenticity, disconnecting us from ourselves and others. And when anger is labeled weakness, opportunities for growth and meaningful dialogue slip away like sand through fingers. Suppressed anger adopts new disguises, refusing to vanish. It weaves itself into our bodies, whispering through physiological distress. This unseen tension becomes Promethean, the sly artist behind passive aggression, subtle sarcasm, backhanded compliments, procrastinatory habits. Such insidiousness erodes trust, unraveling relationships beneath a veneer of normalcy. Suppressed anger also descends into feelings of despair, as chronic silence chokes out hope, turning inner landscapes into battlefields between being and becoming. Physical manifestations, from headaches to ulcers, drape their shroud over this internal struggle, as our health bears the burden of secrets untold. The invisible toll extends far into the heart of being, echoing in the chambers of mental health. Anger repressed creates fertile ground for depression, anxiety, and their kin, cornering us with feelings of helplessness. In denying anger to preserve peace, we paradoxically invite harm, stealing from the well of potential health. To stand in anger's light, reframe it as a messenger, is to salvage well-being and welcome healing. Passive aggression, a cunning offspring of unexpressed fury, thrives in shadows, finding voice in whispers and sidelong glances. Those ensnared by its grasp feel trapped, unable to unleash anger directly, tangled in an emotional labyrinth with threads of bitterness. This behavior acts as a slow poison, permeating interactions, corroding trust, leaving a complex maze for those on the receiving end. Misunderstandings fester in communication cycles, fortifying the walls of original grievances. To unravel this masked anger, it takes courage, a journey into one's truth, a bold step toward integrity. Family dynamics write the first scripts of how we encounter anger. Homes where rage is stigmatized birth silence or hostility, while those where it dances are rare harbingers of emotional literacy. In households where anger is acknowledged and guided, the lexicon of emotions flourishes. Here, children learn to speak without fear, forging a relationship with anger as an ally, not an adversary. Through understanding our familial origins and striving to reshape them, we pave new paths, unbinding from outdated scripts, knitting a tapestry anew. Throughout time, cultural narratives interlace with gender roles, dictating how anger should brim over or be hushed. Men have often wrapped their rage in cloaks of dominance, while women, when they assert, are encumbered by stigmas of hysteria. These norms imprison us in emotional paradigms, not chosen but inherited. Yet, both suffer. Men don stoic masks, fearing vulnerability, as women's boundaries challenge expectation. To break these chains, we must embrace emotional intelligence beyond binaries, bridging gaps with understanding that anger can be an equitable force of change and insight. Suppressed anger, though seemingly immovable, awaits transformation. Through practices like cognitive behavioral therapy and mindfulness, we unveil its roots. Stripping away shame and guilt, we uncover authenticity, no longer afraid to confront and empathize. Repressed rage metamorphoses, granting awareness of boundaries, resilience against dissonance, and integrity. Finally, anger stands not as a buried secret, but a guiding signpost toward emotional truth and balance. In seeking this emotional freedom, one embarks on a journey akin to releasing a caged bird. It calls for courage, an unwavering embrace of self-discovery, dismantling barriers of past conditioning, allowing raw emotions to flow untamed. When we greet anger without judgment or shame, we step into authenticity, honoring it as a teacher of unsurfaced strength and understanding. Released from suppression's chains, we emerge as architects of our own narratives. Anger reshaped into a dialogue starter rather than an endnote, inviting healing conversations and unlocking the door to a freshly written future. Imagine the heart as a vast, dormant volcano, quietly simmering beneath layers of earth and time, unsuspecting yet potent with untold force. Trauma resides within our psyche in much the same way, a silent mountain harboring a sea of fiery emotion. Anger, when born of such deep-rooted trauma, becomes an undercurrent, a silent tempest navigating the corridors of our mind and soul, quietly shaping who we are. This internal rage murmurs through our veins, a dialogue lacking a listener, a story less told. As the volcano alters landscapes without a sound, so does unprocessed trauma reshape the very foundation of our being, while anger becomes the unseen hand steering our destiny. Beneath this unexpressed pain, echoes of powerlessness linger, a symphony of silence punctuating a struggle frozen in time. Trauma captures us in moments suspended, forever, reaching back to grasp answers that remain elusive. Anger, rooted and unseen, becomes an advocate, its cry misunderstood and anxiety, depression, itself harmed, yet acknowledging it as rage and the power, transforming our into existence, alive with something. Anger, in its purest essence, crackles with energy, a flame seeking freedom. When expression is stifled by societal norms or internal beliefs, this fiery spirit turns inward, lost in the labyrinth of our own making. It festers quietly, transforming from a voice of authenticity into a source of self-punishment. This misguided turn into the self breeds a fertile ground for self-sabotage and destructive behaviors that mask the deeper pain, creating a false sense of control amidst the chaos. Yet amid this turmoil lies a profound truth. Embracing and understanding our inner anguish is an act of liberation. Anger is not our enemy, but a misunderstood ally, a beacon calling us to reclaim the power we surrendered in helpless moments. Through this gentle curiosity, we fostered dialogues of healing, transforming weakness into profound resilience. Emotions left unheard, much like letters unsent, can manifest as physical ailments. Anger, when silenced, becomes a shadowy force, murmuring its descent through the body's hidden channels. It heightens our stress responses, deepens the groove of psychological ailments, and seeds the growth of physical complaints. Whispers of the soul, expressed in the language of the flesh. Healing necessitates a delicate reconnection between mind and body, acknowledging the holistic symphony that binds them. Exploring this dynamic ushers in a shift in perception, viewing illness not merely as affliction, but as a dialogue between energies, one often muffled beneath layers of silence. By attuning ourselves to this dialogue, we begin to heal, allowing anger the place to surface, be understood, and ultimately be released. Amid these tribulations, addiction emerges, a desperate strategy woven from the threads of unspoken anger. Addiction becomes a deceptive balm, promising solace while binding us in chains of dependency. Its comforting illusions mask genuine emotional pain, creating a cycle of shame and helplessness. Yet beyond addiction's shadow looms the possibility of renewal. By unveiling the emotional roots that feed this dependency, we can grasp anger's muted call for acknowledgement. In this lies the heart of healing addiction, recognizing anger not as moral failing, but as a plea for help. Through compassionate exploration, the walls addiction builds around the heart can crumble, revealing the tangible message of anger and opening paths to a profound personal evolution. While addiction battles actively, apathy stands as its weary reflection, where anger, long muted, has leached life of its color and sound. This emotional vacuum, mistaken for acceptance, represents the soul's numb silence, its simmering injustices buried beneath layers of indifference. Awakening from this apathetic stupor requires a gentle rekindling of the spirit and reframing anger as a conduit to deeper emotional truths. Engaging with one's own inner world with curiosity rather than fear shifts apathy's shadow into transient twilight. Through introspective journeys, the spirit stirs, curiosity reclaims its voice, and the heart warms to the promise of growth. In the soft cries of self-harm lies anger's most desperate call, a visceral, unspoken language of the soul. These physical manifestations reflect internal strife, giving temporary release to the unyielding chaos within. Each mark on the skin becomes a story carved in silence, a testament to battles waged within the fortress of the soul, unseen by the world outside. Yet within each act is also potential for transformation. By understanding self-harm as a need for expression, we create room for the buried narrative to breathe. Healing involves welcoming these cries with forgiveness and understanding, reframing anger from antagonist to teacher, ushering a gentle return to wholeness. Isolation offers a haunting sanctuary, mistaken for safety, against anger rooted in powerlessness. In this solitude, a fragile illusion of control tempts through the promise of protection. Yet, isolation echoes anger's cry, distorting connection and self-worth. Reaching beyond solitude demands bravery, but through connection, anger finds a voice among understanding ears. In the embrace of shared vulnerability, we learn collective empowerment, transforming isolated rage into healing interaction. Here, anger's cry is met with empathy and grace. The journey from repressed rage to empowerment is one of alchemy, where introspection fuels transformation. Anger, reframed as a signal of unclaimed power, beckons us to transcend helplessness, turning focus inward and urging us toward creation and protection. Through mindfulness and reflection, anger transforms from destruction to a path of growth, where each step forward crafts a narrative of strength and resilience, an unfolding story, stitched together by the hands of self-discovery. In the world we inhabit, fire emerges as a mystical force, embodying the duality of both destruction and purification. When it sweeps across a forested expanse, a charred silence lingers in its wake, desolate and yet brimming with potential. Beneath the ashes lies the promise of renewal, as flames transform organic matter into fertile ground. Similarly, within our emotional landscape, anger manifests as this dual force. It possesses the capacity to unravel the fabric of relationships and erode mental peace, yet, when approached with mindfulness, it becomes a fire of purification. Anger beckons us to confront unsustainable truths, stripping away pretense and demanding an honest rebuilding from the depths of our authentic selves. Anger, like fire, demands careful tending. Left unchecked, it may indiscriminately consume, but harnessed with intention, it reveals transformative insight and clarity. Its discomfort becomes an invitation, signaling the necessity for self-reflection. It brings to light neglected grievances, toxic environments, and unhealed traumas, urging us to delve inward with curiosity rather than suppression. Through such engagement, anger evolves from an active emotion into a pathway for change, illuminating hidden truths and dismantling illusions that tether us to the present moment. At its essence, anger serves as a messenger of our deepest needs and boundaries. Its signals are often misunderstood or ignored, left to fester and manifest in unhealthy ways. By allowing ourselves to truly listen, anger reveals our values, vulnerabilities, and unmet needs. It arises in response to perceived injustices when we feel unseen or disrespected. Shift your perception to view anger not as a destructive agent, but as a guide to understanding the why behind the emotion. This reflection casts light into the void of denial, urging us to face what has long been concealed, the unmet needs, the violated boundaries. Transforming unproductive anger into insight requires a committed self-awareness. It invites introspection, compelling us to question, what boundaries have been crossed? Which needs have gone unmet? What truths have remained unspoken? As anger unveils the wrongs both external and internal, it calls us to an embrace of healing and restoration. Its core message, understood, reveals anger as an ally in navigating the labyrinth of relationships and personal growth, illuminating the path, not as an adversary, but a protector of integrity. In its raw nature, anger pierces through the veil of politeness, dragging truths to light. It is a catalyst for honesty, compelling us to scrutinize disruptions between our core values and our surroundings. By recognizing anger as a guardian of truth, individuals are drawn into a dialogue with their authentic selves, encouraged to stand firm in their convictions. Anger comes forth as not only a defender against falsehood, but as a clarion call to realign with our deepest values, to preserve personal integrity. As anger rises, it marks the territories requiring self-defense, protecting areas where external forces threaten. It signifies where we are compelled to assert boundaries, safeguarding mental, emotional, and sometimes physical well-being. Rather than dismissing anger as problematic, we can appreciate its role in carving out personal space, urging us to voice our needs assertively. Anger emboldens individuals to reclaim sovereignty over their lives, driving a commitment to authenticity and dignity instead of inviting shame or guilt. It cultivates emotional resilience and fortifies self-worth. In the transformative alchemy of personal evolution, anger stands as a formidable catalyst for change. It signals pivotal moments, urging us to abandon outdated patterns and embrace new perspectives. Catalyst in nature, anger forces action, whether in the arena of personal growth or in societal reform. Collective anger has historically propelled movements for transformation, calling for justice and equity. In recognizing anger as a catalyst, not an impediment, its restless energy becomes a motivating force, propelling the courage necessary to manifest change. The aftermath of anger, often misconstrued as negative, can instead herald clarity and peace. Properly channeled, the release of anger empties the emotional landscape of toxins, allowing new growth akin to nature's rejuvenation after rain. Thus, processing anger healthily fosters emotional balance, paving the way for self-renewal and fresh perspectives on life's vast possibilities. Anger, when aligned with purpose, morphs into potential for meaningful action. This transmutation requires mindfulness, redirecting the chaotic force of anger toward constructive ambition. By channeling anger into expressive outlets, such as art, physical movement, or focused communication, it affirms life and personal values. Purposeful engagement with anger redefines it as a motivational springboard, catalyzing self-actualization. In anger's crucible lies potential for reinvention, casting aside old identities and embracing new narratives. Much like the phoenix rising, anger incites a journey inward, challenging beliefs and reshaping personal contours. It prompts transformation, honoring one's truths, encouraging authenticity over imposed identities. Ultimately, the journey with anger culminates in its integration into our wholeness. As a part of the human experience, it contributes to emotional wisdom and self-realization. As individuals accept anger without fear, it becomes an ally, advancing the pursuit of inner harmony. Through integration, anger emerges, refined and full of wisdom, as an essential strand in life's rich tapestry. In the quiet recesses of our minds lie spaces where anger rests, not as a fearsome adversary, but as a watchful protector. This chapter begins amidst the hushed pause of emotion, a stillness that belies an impending surge, not of chaos, but of clarity and self-affirmation. Anger, too often silenced by societal dictates of politeness, becomes dormant, fostering a fragile peace that is more facade than truth. Yet, this emotion yearns to be recognized as a beacon that lights the path to an authentic no, a rejection of transgressions that undermine our essence. In this silence before transformation, many lose sight of their inner compass. Our upbringing often glorifies compliance, equating harmony with surrender, so we overlook the power of setting boundaries that nurture our soul's sanctuary. Like dawn breaking the night's grip, acknowledging anger as a defender reshapes our perceptions, calling forth an end to silence and the dawn of truthful engagement. It is through reclaiming our empowered no that we step into a tapestry where spirituality and psychology interlace, embracing boundaries not as limitations, but as sacred guards of our inner sanctum. Anger, like the armor revered in ancient tales, becomes more than mere defense. It is infused with resolve and reverence, shielding the self from harm while honoring growth and integrity. As we envisage this emotion as spiritual protection, we recognize it as a divine force, poised to stand steadfast, not to provoke, but to affirm the sacredness of our being. When anger envelops us, it does so with a grace that transcends confrontation, guiding us inward with the poise of a seasoned guardian, aware of restraint's potential and the peace of returning to one's truth. In shaping our lives, boundaries emerge not as confinements, but as thresholds where mutual respect weaves the fabric of coexistence. The fiery flare of anger warns us of trespass, illuminating the sacred lines that define our individuality. By embracing anger's role, we transform it into a tender ally, celebrating the essence of relationships woven with awareness. Each no expressed is not a rebuke to others, but an embrace of self, an affirmation of dignity without the burden of guilt or shame. It is through this no that we align with our true place within the community, engaging others with genuine appreciation for their boundaries as well. For centuries, scripts of compliance have been handed down, where appeasement fetters authenticity. Within anger lies the spark to redraft these scripts, urging a return to narratives that reflect our truth rather than collect debts to societal expectation. Anger's flare reveals buried truths, challenging inherited roles that obstruct self-expression. As we reweave our stories, our choices reflect our essence, casting anger not as chaos, but as a liberating force, illuminating the way to a life lived with intention and clarity. To utter a no requires courage, a testament to our worth and dignity. Despite fears of adversity or estrangement, such courage is the pillar upon which genuine connection stands. In reclaiming the sacred no, we embrace courage as a lived experience. Anger transforms into a steady guide, illuminating paths with unwavering authenticity. It overrides cultural conditioning, offering strength and shining light on unapologetic ownership of our truth. In the intricate dance of self-exploration, anger becomes an affirming cry, heralding the desire for acknowledgement and healing. Through such affirmation, anger serves not as an obstacle, but as a companion, leading us towards alignment and healing. Each boundary declared, each voice steadied by this emotion, reaffirms our worth, converting anger from feared adversary to ally in grounding self-respect and healing endeavors. In societies championing compliance, anger guides us toward non-compliance, a deliberate choosing of authenticity over expectation. This art, driven by anger, honors our sovereignty, asserting individuality as a sacred testament, standing firm against societal norms. Anger becomes a life-giving force, birthing innovation, inviting exploration, not in defiance, but in integrity, crafting a dialogue with the world that nurtures growth and wisdom. Envision anger as a crucible, an alchemical mirror refining raw emotion into wisdom. Through introspection, Anger sheds light on patterns and unspoken needs. This fiery introspection leads to clarity, dismantling emotional tumult to reveal a canvas of self-understanding and healing. Anger, with its guiding flame, instructs us in crafting emotional boundaries, living signs of inner respect and knowledge, signaling trespass. By embracing anger as sentinel, we delineate sacred emotional landscapes, fostering interactions brimming with grace and respect. Reclaiming the sacred no culminates in embracing anger wholly, recognizing it as a vital facet of self-discovery. In this embrace lies completion, where anger, integrated, tempers our collective identity, a harmony of emotion and intellect, grounding us in truth. Here starts a journey toward wholeness and peace, not by eradicating anger, but by anchoring its wisdom, aligning deeply with our sacred self. Through the sacred iterations of no, we honor ourselves afresh, finding liberation and return to the divine spark of who we are. Picture anger not as a foe lurking in the shadows, but as a vigilant sentinel, a vibrant energy coursing through the essence of our being. It is like the raw clay that awaits the sculptor's touch to emerge in its fullest form. This energy, often mistaken for identity, is a harbinger of growth, a whisper of unmet needs, and a keeper of buried truths. Anger, when met without disdain, unfurls as a guide, illuminating the paths where our tender attention is needed most. Imagine the alchemical process turning the dense lead of anger into the shimmering gold of wisdom and empowerment. The true art lies in remaining present, allowing the stream of anger to move within, inviting it to shape rather than bind us. Acceptance becomes the doorway to this alchemical journey. By acknowledging anger and its presence within us, we delve into its roots, unearthing the secrets that the emotion seeks to reveal. As flame sheds light in darkened corners, so does anger reveal the unseen and unspoken. Through gentle observation, we discern its origins and triggers, choosing to respond in ways that transform what could be destructive into a beacon of empowerment and clarity. This transformation comprises deliberate choices, creative expression, the sturdy boundaries, or active problem solving, to harness anger as a catalyst of profound change. Whispering spirits of the breath stand as allies on this path of transformation, grounding and guiding us. Anger may quicken our pulse and thicken our breath, but with deliberate deep inhalations, we enter spaces of calm and focus. Each breath, drawn with purpose, becomes an invocation of clarity. Each exhalation a release of tension, space for new visions to emerge. Visualize your breath as the alchemist's gentle bellow, turning the ember of anger into a force for creation. A wheel turning raw clay into beautiful flame. In the heart of awareness lies tremendous power, often misunderstood. Anger, with mindful embrace, reveals this inner force, a guiding light toward empowerment and self-assertion. Recognize it as a signal, a pulse of unmet needs or unexpressed truths, accessing a reservoir of strength. Acknowledge anger, embrace its fiery essence, and let it illuminate the path towards speaking our truths and defending our sacred space. Anger prods us to engage life with resolve, calling us to mold reality, safeguard convictions, and command the respect we seek. Somatic metaphors hold spaces of wisdom, helping us understand transformation. Ponder the volcano, seething beneath with molten intent, its potential for creation tethered to destruction. Thus anger, when guided, lays fertile ground for growth amid the ash. Imagine coal becoming diamonds under unyielding pressure. Anger faced with steadfastness can reveal clarity and resilience. Such symbolic musings invite us into the heart of anger, encouraging the resilience needed for transformation. Our bodies, finely tuned instruments, narrate tales our minds may shy from hearing. Anger, tangled in tension, clenched jaws, or heart's drumbeats, becomes a physical dialogue. To witness the ebb and flow of these sensations is to unlock the body's wisdom, guiding us through mindful movement and gentle awareness. Somatic practices light the path, transforming unconscious reactions into insightful responses. The body as both a teller of tales and a healer. In the dance of transformation, resistance and acceptance sway together. Anger often meets resistance, judgment's companion, or the urge to flee. Yet, within resistance lies the seed of transformation. Breathe through the discomfort. Acknowledge resistance as part of the journey. It is the soil in which genuine growth takes root. Breath, that eternal anchor, transforms toughness into soft pathways, harbors where change quietly takes form. Recast anger from destroyer to creator, a vibrant brushstroke painting the canvas of our lives. This shift breathes life into new expressions, turning what could split us apart into tapestries of shared humanity. Anger, channeled rightly, fuels creativity. Painting, writing, music, movement, births anew from its hearth. It reveals our inner world, connects us, and transforms isolation into innovation. Movement, authentic and unguarded, becomes the dance of alchemy. Societal confines and personal inhibitions often trap anger, but through movement's liberation, anger finds its voice. To move freely in response to emotion is to allow anger its rhythm, transforming judgment's chains into expressions of truthful, raw essence. At its heart, emotional alchemy is the embrace of allowance. Here we sit in stillness with anger, acknowledging without haste or reproach. This courage draws us to deeper self-awareness, offering compassion's cradle, where anger can sing its truths. Trust in the transformative process. Emotions hold a mirror and a map. Thus, we integrate anger from fragmented reflections into seamless whole, presenting a kaleidoscope where anger's hue enhances rather than disturbs. By weaving anger into our narrative, we embrace its role as both sentinel and sage, guiding us to inner peace and authenticity. This integration fortifies us, aligning with our true selves, emerging with clarity, strength, and grace, awaken to the wisdom anger offers. In the whispers of the heart, anger becomes a river, seeking its path through the contours of our being, an energy yearning for expression. Imagine selecting a brush for a masterpiece, a personal choice that transforms emotion into art. Writing serves as one such canvas where anger, guided by the hand, morphs into narratives rich with insight and clarity. The crafted words, like gentle strokes, illuminate the maze of emotions, allowing grievances to unravel into tales of wisdom. This act of articulation transforms the chaotic storm of anger into a serene dialogue within oneself, revealing its dignity and depth. Just as the sea's rhythms shape the shore, movement channels anger's dynamic force into kinetic poetry. Dance, martial arts, or even a gentle walk invite the body to partake in a dance of release, bridging the intangible with the grounded. In each movement lies a note in the symphony of healing, where physical expression turns tension into liberation, much like morning light dispelling night shadows. This practice, an engagement rather than an escape, invites stillness amid motion, a dance where anger rediscovers its true nature, whispering secrets of balance and harmonious expression. Lurking beneath anger's veil is a voice longing for resonance, its sound akin to the earth's deep murmurs. Vocal expression unleashes this force, with breath guiding sound into the world. Through practices like breathwork and vocal toning, one connects with the spirit's core, giving voice to truths that simmer beneath the surface. The breath becomes a sacred partner, melding intention with release, transforming anger into musical liberation, where each note is an echo of the soul's desires and frustrations. This alchemical conversion shifts anger's destructive potential into a creative frontier, allowing personal and collective resonance to emerge, harmonizing discord within. In the theater of the mind, anger often scripts its stories, casting shadows long and profound. Embracing these projections is akin to a silent dialogue, a dance of light and shadow revealing hidden narratives. Each anger's touch is a mirror, reflecting the unspoken parts of the self, inviting gentle inquiry into its roots. There, within the questions of the heart, we uncover the stories that shape our nature, transforming unvoiced wounds into wisdom. This is not confrontation, but communion, where the soul dances with its own whispers, inviting every shadow to step into the light of understanding. Anger, when kissed by creativity's muse, ignites ingenious flames, transforming frustration into new pathways of thought. Much like a river carving through rock, anger becomes a crucible for innovation, challenging stagnant paradigms and opening vistas anew. Here, creative intelligence takes the helm, sculpting wrath into visions that reshape reality and inspire change. The courage to channel anger demands reflection and openness, a willingness to let its fire birth art, music, or groundbreaking ideas. With this transformation, anger's turbulence becomes the breeze lifting wings, guiding the soul towards creation and thoughtful evolution. Through rituals, sacred spaces are created in the midst of emotional storms, offering sanctuaries where anger is engaged purposefully. Meditation and grounding practices become tapestries of serenity, inviting a dialogue that illuminates the intricate weavings of the soul's landscape. These rituals offer structure and stability, allowing anger to be acknowledged and released gracefully. Here, anger, as a respectful guest, shares its story before stepping aside, seamlessly entwined into the fabric of our spiritual and emotional resilience. In this sacred dialogue, it finds integration, honored and woven with intent, transforming volatility into a gentle reservoir of strength and peace. Our lives tell a tale, rich with anger and resolve, where emotion colors the narrative, adding depth to the journey. Embracing anger's hues, we invite it as a vibrant companion in our story, a testament to vulnerability and resilience. Narrative therapy becomes our guide, helping us reshape and reauthor tales where anger's presence adds layers to our history. As we weave anger into our life's tapestry, we find that it informs and inspires, illuminating paths often obscured. This storytelling honors anger's lessons, crafting a tale that reflects not just who we are, but who we aspire to become. Beyond the personal and immediate, anger resonates as an echo of ancestral legacies, its reverberations connecting us to those who walked before. This exploration into ancestral anger unveils a shared human experience, revealing emotion as a thread binding us to collective histories. Ancestral healing rituals offer communion with this legacy, encouraging us to transform inherited patterns into wisdom for future generations. By honoring these roots, anger transcends the personal, guiding us towards a more compassionate inheritance, a legacy where the echoes of past struggles sing of resilience and understanding. Within the heart of community, anger blooms like a flower, a catalyst for unity, dialogue, and change. Collective healing transforms anger from isolation to empowerment, illuminating societal injustices through shared initiatives and open dialogues. These communal spaces offer creative outlets where anger fuels progress rather than division, nurturing solidarity and understanding. As anger is harnessed for collective growth, it seeds evolution, inspiring movements towards inclusivity and care. Through this journey, anger becomes a beacon of unity, its fire lighting the path toward shared transformation and deeper connections. In the alchemist's vision, anger is no hurdle but a sacred teacher on the path to enlightenment. It reveals the way from chaos to clarity, embracing transformation as an ally in spiritual awakening. Through mindfulness and compassionate inquiry, anger's raw energy becomes a sage's whisper, guiding the soul to harmony and light. Embraced with curiosity, anger illuminates facets of being, challenging perceptions and nurturing growth. This alchemical journey allows anger to become a force for awakening, a guide to the golden light within, enhancing peace through deeper understanding. As the journey of anger's exploration concludes, a legacy of liberation unfolds, anger set free from the confines of repression, celebrated as a companion to wholeness. This new paradigm views anger as a symphony of understanding and integration, enriching our human experience. The liberated legacy of anger aligns with our highest selves, transforming containment into a celebration of dynamic expression, a testament to our capacity for conscious evolution and shared humanity. In this dance of engagement, anger finds dignity, and dignity finds its expression within anger, crafting a legacy of spiritual and emotional awakening. In the vast landscape of human emotion, anger often wanders into shadowed realms, exiled by misconceptions and fears. It is an emotion, misunderstood and repressed, quietly drifting into the unconscious, where shadows protect it. Carl Jung spoke of this hidden territory, reminding us that what we know consciously is but a fragment of our total being. The soul's forgotten voice, anger, becomes a specter, cast into obscurity by societal whispers that call it disrespectful or weak. Yet the shadow does not silence anger, it harbors it. It waits beneath our everyday awareness, surfacing in moments where its presence feels misplaced or too intense. The journey to wholeness starts with honest introspection, a courageous act of self-acceptance. Jungian wisdom guides us here, reminding us that enlightenment is found not in light alone, but in bringing the darkness into consciousness. As we listen to our anger's quiet truths, we embark on a path of self-discovery, recognizing anger not as a villain, but a messenger of buried needs and unmet boundaries. In this hidden dance, projection arises, anger cast onto others, veiling the reflection of our own unacknowledged turmoil. We see this play unfold as judgments about others' aggressive tendencies or perceived injustices. Yet, within these perceptions lies a mirror reflecting our unrest, a boomerang of emotional projection. Through the gentle art of introspection, we unravel these tales, spun by our unconscious, reclaiming the stories and emotions as ours to explore, not shun. With self-sabotage, we witness anger's hidden hand turned inward. It emerges, a stealthy artist disrupting our life's canvas with brushstrokes of shattered goals and thwarted desires. The inexplicable actions that hinder our progress or the silent failures that shadow our efforts are often anger's way of demanding acknowledgement. By shifting our view from blame to curiosity, we begin to explore these inner frictions, questioning what anger whispers about our unmet needs and hidden grievances. Integration becomes an elegant dance, a befriending of shadow, a sacred union of light and dark. It is here, within Jung's imagined dance of individuation, that we find harmony. Anger is given a seat at our table, treated as a wise, albeit misunderstood, companion. Through practices of meditation or artistic expression, anger morphs. It guides us to unveil the mystery of our boundaries and self-worth, teaching us to establish and respect our personal edges. Through honest reflections, we engage with this emotion as a partner in self-inquiry. Journaling becomes our sacred space, a private dialogue where we pen our truths and explore the motivations steered by anger. Each written word unravels hidden dynamics, allowing us to ask, what is this anger revealing? Or, where does this flame point in my life? This narrative exploration leads us deeper into the core of our psyche, shedding light on wounds that fuel anger's presence. Rituals rich with symbolism serve as a path toward reclaiming our emotional landscape. They transform abstract healing into tangible actions, a symbolic fire to purge what's been repressed, letters of anger, burnt as offerings to new beginnings. These ceremonies offer a space where anger can be expressed and then released, transforming into a more refined, peaceful energy. To welcome the shadow with courage is to embrace its compassion for oneself and the world. This acceptance does not indulge in negativity, but recognizes its role in the human narrative. Meeting anger with empathy opens doors to understanding, turning the gaze from suppression to acceptance and blame to forgiveness. The shadow, seen through the lens of compassion, reveals anger's role in highlighting areas deserving care. In this tapestry of our emotions, we discover a world beyond the simple dichotomy of good and evil. Integrating anger, weaving it into our being, enriches our tapestry, fostering a self-resilient and flexible. Each emotion finds its place, anger included, revealing a multidimensional self. As we navigate this inner world, anger's presence becomes a source of creativity and strength. Within this exploration of shadow, the dynamics of power shift. Anger, once feared and misunderstood, becomes a source of information and strength. Reclaiming this personal sovereignty allows for authentic boundaries and the expression of need. This matured sense of power emerges not from aggression, but from inner strength, aligning with our authentic selves, where anger becomes not a judge, but a guide. In acknowledging anger, we walk a delicate path toward inner peace. It is somewhat ironic yet profound to understand that this journey does not seek peace in the absence of anger, but in its balance and acknowledgement. This peace is a rich tapestry that holds anger in all its facets softly, recognizing the potential for harmony within every emotion. As anger is integrated, it serves as a bridge, an elegant companion in the journey toward a truly unified self, where all emotions are embraced with wisdom and grace. In the quiet dance of human relationships, boundaries are delicate wisps that hum around us, marking where your soul ends and another begins. Picture them as ethereal threads of light, casting a soft glow that both comforts and guides, shaping the contours of our deepest connections. They are like gentle firelight at the edge of a shadowed forest, capable of offering warmth and illuminating the pathway ahead, yet also possessing the potential to consume if not tended with care. Within this tender embrace of light and shade, we learn to sway between closeness and solitude, each step guided by the intricate art of understanding oneself within the mosaic of others. Just as the flickers of a fire reveal and hide the borders of our being, speak of our choice to be open or secure, to welcome or retreat. These lines are the silent sentinels of our personal realms, outlining not just our tolerances, but our very essence. It's often the fiery glow of anger that throws these borders into stark relief, drawing attention to where our inner sanctuary has been breached. And in this moment of clarity, as in an awakening from a deep slumber, we find an invitation to honor these boundaries, not as barriers, but as bridges to deeper truths and genuine connections. Embracing their fluidity, we allow them to shift and grow with us, nurturing a canvas upon which the dance of respect and understanding paints its vivid portrait. In the ancient language of our emotions, anger emerges, raw, searing, untamed, unveiling insights with a force that demands attention. It is not merely a herald of conflict, but a powerful messenger rallying against the trampling of our sacred spaces. Just as the vigilant flames at the edge of dawn signal the intruder's approach, so too does anger sound the alarm when our authenticity is overshadowed or our values cast aside. Yet, rather than a call to arms, it is a summons to the quiet recesses of introspection, urging a gentle unraveling of life's tangled threads to reveal the wisdom woven within. Anger prods us to reconsider our horizons, beckoning us toward a space of honest engagement with the world. It is the gateway to deeper insights and new beginnings. It whispers that we pause, reflect, and discern whether our unrest blooms from inner turbulence or external incursion. Within this quiet crucible of contemplation lies the potential for wisdom and renewal, transforming our passive suffering into empowered engagement. Through these moments, each boundary forged in authenticity calls for responses that both honor self and extend an invitation toward collective understanding, crafting spaces of connection rooted in respect. As an assertion of self-respect, anger holds within its fiery grasp a declaration, a resounding demand to be seen, to be valued. Far from the disruptions often depicted, its energy intertwines with dignity and self-worth, standing steadfast in the spaces where our essence is misunderstood or dismissed. In our journey of expression, anger becomes a protector of sovereignty, a clear voice rising against the currents of discount and disregard. It calls us to look within, to uncover the values that blaze brightly in our hearts, ensuring that our actions resonate with authenticity. From this stance emerges a transformative trajectory, elevating anger into a beacon for personal agency, interwoven with the threads of mutual reverence, advancing conversations that are rich, dynamic tapestries of mutual respect and shared truth. In this delicate ballet of flame and breath, anger and integrity engage in an eternal waltz, a primal rhythm that challenges us to stand in truth. Like fire tended with reverence, anger, when united with integrity, sparks growth and illumination rather than chaos. This partnership casts the shadows of deceit away, demanding alignment with our deepest convictions and paving pathways illuminated by sincerity. Rooted in a profound understanding of our principles, anger becomes an ally in our journey toward equity and self-betterment, arming us with courage to confront falsehood, challenge manipulation, and resist the erosion of values. Within this union, peace emerges, not as an absence of discord, but through a harmony where anger acts as a vigilant guardian. Intuitively, it gauges the balance within and around us, recognizing disruptions and beckoning us to address them before they blossom into chaos. As we embrace the presence of anger with the tenderness it deserves, we set the stage for dialogue that promotes enduring tranquility, each moment a testimony to the alchemical capacity held within our fiery responses to nurture peace. The inner child within, pure and vulnerable, speaks through flashes of anger, echoing past calls for attention and healing that were never answered. It is this child who quietly guides our adult selves, shaping how we establish and navigate boundaries. By tending to these echoes with gentle understanding, we mend the delicate rifts in our consciousness, growing boundaries that honor both past experiences and present realities. A reciprocal dance that nurtures a lifelong connection to our intrinsic worth. And in an embrace of transformation, fire becomes the eternal symbol of anger's potency and possibility. Much like the clearing ashes of a forest floor, anger reshapes and renews, paving the way for a rebirth, lighting paths of clarity and fresh growth. Engaging with this dynamic force becomes an exercise in discernment, balancing what to preserve and what to allow, dissolving into a newfound landscape of self-authorship, where anger pens not tales of destruction, but narratives of deep introspections and resolute awakenings that define our ongoing journey. In a world where the mind often divides and categorizes, peace is frequently seen as the gentle antithesis of anger. However, this binary thinking conceals a truth long overlooked and profoundly transformative. Peace is not the absence of emotion, even anger. True peace embraces the symphony of feelings that animate our existence. Imagine a night where the quiet harmonizes with the distant rumble of thunder, where serenity intermingles with the anticipation of a storm's approach. Just as a landscape transforms beneath the cleansing touch of rain, so too does the human psyche flourish when anger is integrated rather than exiled. Acknowledge anger, not as a force left unchecked, but as a wise messenger of our inner boundaries, a beacon illuminating needs long suppressed. Like fire, it refines our spirit, burning away what no longer serves us, and illuminating the path to emotional maturity. Understanding anger as a part of peace invites a gracious dialogue with oneself, listening to stories our hearts whisper in the quiet hours. This dialogue is not about silencing this tempestuous emotion. It is about witnessing its role in the grander ongoing journey towards wholeness. In our quest for a sustainable peace, we must honor every shade of our emotional spectrum. We often cast anger into the shadows, fearing its formidable power. Yet, this vilification fragments our being, disrupting the natural flow of emotional energy. By acknowledging anger's lessons, we open the door to emotional alchemy, a transformation where raw reaction becomes profound understanding. This acceptance is not passive surrender, but a bold embrace, inviting growth and self-awareness, allowing us to transform what feels like an unjust weight into personal strength and wisdom. In this journey of emotional exploration, anger emerges as wisdom in motion. Its flames illuminate the edges of our consciousness, urging us to view it not as a threat, but as a catalyst for change. Examine its roots and see with new eyes the boundaries it defends and the truths it uncovers. Mindful reflection turns anger from a chaotic adversary into a guiding touchstone, a compass pointing toward authenticity and preservation of self. Through rituals of mindful practice, we weave anger and peace into a single thread, the tapestry of self-awareness. Meditation, journaling, and movement offer sanctuaries where anger can be expressed, explored, and transformed. These practices invite a state of flow, where anger becomes a sacred messenger, imparting wisdom as we tread softly through the paths of understanding. Embrace these moments, not for their immediate rewards, but for their gradual unveiling of inner truths, revealing patterns and triggers that shape our emotional narrative and open doors to harmonious self-discovery. As we cultivate acceptance from resistance, we recognize anger as an integral part of the human story. This acceptance calls us to engage with emotions actively and compassionately, transforming the urge to control into an opportunity for deepening self-investigation. Through this shift, peace becomes a dynamic state, capable of withstanding the ebb and flow of emotional tides, emboldened by the knowledge that acceptance is not surrender, but a deeply courageous act of self-unity. Embrace emotional transparency, allowing anger to be seen without disguise or distortion. Vulnerability paves the way for authenticity, inviting empathy and deeper connections with others and ourselves. Anger, once hidden away, transforms into a shared journey, uniting us in the understanding of our common human experience. This sees anger not as a divisive shadow, but as an essential participant in the dance of emotional truth, where honesty and transparency lay the groundwork for true peace. Forgiveness plays an alchemical role in this integration, evolving from a mere idea to a lived experience. It becomes a tender release, a liberation from the bonds of past grievances. Through forgiveness, we lighten the emotional load, learning to carry our stories with grace instead of burden. Rather than dispelling past wounds, forgiveness reframes them, giving us the strength to emerge with renewed vigor and inner equilibrium. Anger, when embraced, reveals itself as a profound teacher, a compass pointing toward inner strength, It encourages us to confront fears and vulnerabilities, uncovering reservoirs of courage and perseverance. This transformation is neither simple nor swift, but yields rich rewards, greater autonomy, sharper self-awareness, and the clarity needed to set boundaries and realign with authentic truth. Anger, as a guide, illuminates paths where peace flourishes, not from its absence, but from its harmonious integration. Let us conclude this journey with a vision of a future where anger and peace dwell as allies within the human heart. In this vision, we courageously accept the full range of our emotions, realizing that each holds its unique gift of wisdom and resilience. This is not a distant ideal, but a living reality, a testament to our capability for empathy, understanding, and authentic connection. As we nurture this integrative approach, peace and anger unite as threads in a tapestry rich with the hues of human experience. By embracing this narrative, we step into a harmonious future where personal evolution and communal harmony bloom from the soil of emotional authenticity. Should this journey resonate with your heart, I invite you to join our community, sharing these moments of reflection and revelation by liking and subscribing to our channel. Together, let us continue this exploration, weaving the sacred narrative of our shared human experience.